UFC, TMG.
Anyways,
let's talk combat sports, man.
let's do it.
That's the reason why we got this man on. Our UFC aficionado.
I'll try.
A UFC
I'll
aficionado.
I'll try.
UFC's on the rise.
It is on the rise. It's on the up, man.
It's on the up. Some people say the pervert over boxing. It's mad.
That's me, man.
It's mad.
That's me.
That's not me, but you know,
It's not you.
It is.
It is what it is. This is the landscape that we live in. Let's talk about the biggest star in UFC. Mr. McGregor.
He had a shocker, man. He had an awful, just the week in general. He had an awful fight week, man. From the start, because like, obviously, like talk about the fight first. Like he looked okay. Like starts it with the spinning back kick. You're thinking, okay, yeah, cool. He's alive. He's alert. Comes into this fight, you're thinking, all right. Then he tries to clinch. Tries to like starts initiating the clinch, and if you've watched McGregor, as his star power has gone up and his level's gone up, his jiu-jitsu and his clinch and all that business has always stayed the same. It's never really like improved. So why he's doing that with Poirier, I don't know, because McGregor will never really beat anyone in the clinch or a grapple. He's just a striker. Then he starts shooting for the guillotine when, like, as a side note, the whole fight week, he's been saying submissions don't count, grappling's for pussies. Comes to the fight now, starts clinching, starts going for the guillotine. You think, what is he doing? What's this idiot doing? Like, why would you say that and then do this? Because you're setting yourself up for failure. Then on the floor, he's getting pounded, pummeled, elbows, fists, boom, 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 getting rocked. And you're just looking at it, he just doesn't. It's so like weird watching him fight now, because he had that sort of like kind of similar to like the Mike Tyson thing, where he had 3 years where he was just boom, just on top,
Dominant.
boom, dominant, rising. As he's rising, stock of the UFC's going up as well. It's a beautiful relationship.
I like that comparison, yeah.
But then you see the Khabib fight, and you see how he was acting in the build up to that. Then he has this next Dustin fight, the second Dustin fight, first of the recent ones, where he's acting all humble, boom, boom, boom. Then this one, it kind of looked like he was forcing it. Like, it just looked like
It wasn't normal.
he's just trying to get in his head, and he thought, the way I can get in this guy's head is to say that your wife is in my DMs and all this kind of business. And like, Poirier's the guy, he's just sat there like, is this it? Like, is this what I'm dealing with?
Do you think McGregor, once he had that taste of that big money with Mayweather, he was never the same fighter?
Oh, 100%. But I can't blame him, because like he's not going to be the same person. Him coming up in the UFC, yeah. He's in the back streets of Dublin. He's rolling around with common guys coming out of there. He's on the welfare. He's on the dole in Ireland, yeah. He's got the drive. He's got the hustle. As you're coming up, your money's coming up. You're not going to have that same drive.
Unless you're Floyd Mayweather.
Unless you're Floyd. Floyd's an anomaly in this. But like, yeah, you're not going to have that same drive. Like, you're now at a level where you're having your own gym, you're training on the beaches in Dubai or whatnot. You're living on a yacht for your fight week. You've got gyms in LA and whatnot. And you're paying guys to be around you. You're paying the nutritionists. You're paying all of these guys. You're not going to have that same drive you had when you're coming up in those dirty gym halls in Dublin, rolling about, fighting with guys that are in the same position as you. Like, you're all there just hustling, trying to get better. You're all going to like the KFC or the chip shop or whatnot. Like, you're not gonna have that same drive in you. But can you blame him? No, you can't. That man is a mogul now. He's got the whiskey business. He fought Floyd. Every fight he has in the UFC, he's getting he's getting millions. So I can't. While it's disappointing to watch, I can't blame him for having this shift. Like, if I was him, I'd just stop, because it looks like he's just forcing it now.
Yeah, he's tarnishing his legacy.
Like,
legacy at least.
Yeah, it looks like he's just forcing it now. Like, the business in the pre-fight, with him saying your wife's in my DMs and all that. Post-fight as well, sitting on the floor, your leg in 2 pieces, saying like, you're in your sleep, you're getting it, putting gun fingers to his head. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's just
done.
I thought after the first, even after the Khabib fight, I would have thought, you know what, you've made your money now, like, let's nip it in the bud.
If he doesn't retire, does it tarnish his legacy?
I think the longer he fights, the more he tarnishes it, because I can't see him beating anyone. Like, the only way he's going to beat people is if he doesn't go for these super fights, like with the Poiriers. Like, anyone in the top... Because the lightweight division at the moment is healthy. Like, the top 8, top 9 in the lightweight division at the moment is like...
Is that down to McGregor and Khabib, or is that just... Where is that?
I think it's just good timing, to be honest, because there's so many good lightweights at the moment. You've got the Gaethjes, whose last fight was for the title. You got the Poiriers, obviously. You got the champion now, Oliveira, who's been fighting for how many years? Now he's got the belt.
Who did he beat for the belt?
He beat Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler, guy that came over from Bellator. 2 fights in the UFC, second fight for the belt. You've got the guys like some of the guys that are kind of on the up as well, like Benil Dariush, who's like a guy that not many people will know, but serious guy. But last fight was with Tony Ferguson. Absolutely, all 15 minutes of the fight just had Tony Ferguson on the ropes. So,
what's happened to that guy? I heard his name in a minute.
Tony Ferguson.
He's on a skid, man. He's on a skid. His last 3 fights have just been.
Well, him and Conor supposed to fight at one point.
Yeah, like I do feel sorry for Tony Ferguson because he was supposed to fight Khabib for the belt.
Yeah.
Then during fight week, during the promo for the fight week, the rumors like he trod on wires, slipped on wires, tore his ACL, completely tore his knee to shreds,
and
then that was it. And then he never fought for the belt because then he came back, fought Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje absolutely finished him.
Yeah, obviously coming back from a torn ACL is tough, especially in the fight game.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But no, like with McGregor, I want him to get healthy. I wish him the speediest of recoveries and the healthiest of recoveries. But
you think he's enough now?
Just nip the fighting in the bud, man. Nah.
Oh, cool.
Stick with the proper 12.
He sold that, or he's selling it. He's either sold or sold his.
He sold it. He's a billion. Is it? What is it?
Millionaire? He doesn't need to fight anymore, man.
Do you think if McGregor goes, it doesn't affect the popularity of UFC?
I think, in a broad sense, it could, because obviously, like you two guys, you're not in it as deep as I am. But if you hear McGregor's fight and you're like, oh, let me try and tune in. But then if you heard now, for example, like if you heard that Oliveira is fighting Chandler, for example, like you didn't even know Oliveira fought for beat for the belt kind of thing.
And they're handed the belt.
And they were the 2 top guys in the lightweight division. So like for a neutral, I think it could definitely have an impact. Like the UFC has still got its stars, but McGregor's got the star power now because he's branched out from just the MMA stuff now. He is a star.
Do you think that's down to the way UFC being run by Dana White? Is that how he wants it run? That there's no star bigger than what the actual sport is?
Potentially, yeah, because as I said, the UFC in itself has got so many stars, but it's rare that they really go to that next level and branch out. Like obviously you've got the McGregors, you've got the Rouseys, like Rousey's doing films and whatnot, doing the WWE stuff and all that. Like she's gone her own way, done her own thing.
That wrestler, that one that takes all the drugs.
All of them.
No, the wrestler that took all the drugs that was in MMA.
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
I'll beat him up, you know.
Try it.
I'm trying. Who wins?
Who wins? On a spin. F5 after F5 after F5. You F5 you on this table, G. You break your back on this table.
Finish, yeah.
Wait. Who wins?
Throw you about the shoe.
Who wins? 10 Brock Lesnar's or 1 gorilla?
I'll give it to 10 Brock Lesnar's, man.
Are you sure?
Wow.
10.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I have to say 1 gorilla, man.
3 or 4 of them might take a beating, but I'll give it to...
10's a lot. 10's a lot. 10 is a lot. Because there's that whole 10 Mike Tysons and 1 gorilla.
Yeah, like how much does he Brock Lesnar weigh? Probably like 250 pounds.
Do you know how strong gorilla is?
That, he's got to be... No, in fact, no, maybe you're right, actually. Like 250.
That's 2,500 pounds. A gorilla probably weighs like 500 pounds or something like that.
They got power though.
They got power. And he's got, and you know when you're fighting 10, it's got to be a brawl thing. Like
It has to be. You have
can't
to
do
all
it
jump on it
one-on-one.
at once. You have to all jump on it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's
Maybe that's one for pay-per-view, bro.
Wait, but obviously I wanted to just discuss this quickly. Obviously UFC. Do you think there will ever be a challenger to UFC in that MMA kind of thing? Or and also with Dana White, is he a good face, a good owner?
In terms of the competitors, I don't know. I really don't know because there are a lot of good promotions, like MMA promotions outside of UFC. Like you've got the Bellators, you've got in the UK, you've got Cage Warriors, you've got One Championship, which is like all over the place, America, Japan. But it's all like, it's just, they're all stepping stones
To UFC.
to the UFC. Because I think like, it's like you compare it to like WWE. You've got the WWE and then you've got all the things underneath it.
Yeah.
Everyone just wants to get to WWE. Like you got guys in Bellator, you got the guys in the One Championships, the cage fighters and all that. Cage Warriors even. All they want to do is just get to the UFC. They want to get to the main stage.
So UFC's that strong.
Is this format better than boxing? Because you get the fights you want?
I think so. I think with boxing there's just so much politics going on.
Too much.
It's so hard. Like you're the best example I can look at is AJ Fury. The amount of politics that's going on, we're still at least 2 fights away from that fight. Even though they had the agreement and all this business, we're now a month later after that agreement was reached. We're still now 2 fights away at least. Then you got to look at the other mandatories and all that. Like me personally, I don't think we're gonna see that fight. AJ Fury. I don't think we're gonna see it.
I think I'm in that same. I think the timing, if the fight's gonna happen, has passed, but the fight can still happen.
I think the fight will happen, but it won't necessarily be for undisputed. I think
that's the one thing I can think of. That's the one
AJ said
thing.
that today. I watched it before I came. He had an interview. What's his name? Gary Neville. Very good interview actually. I recommend everyone watches that. Very interesting. Yeah. But he said that they could fight without the belts on the line.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing they got to do. They all just vacate.
But then it doesn't have the same effect. Do you know what it would have been a great summer for England? A great summer just in general. You have that England game, then you would have had Fury fighting AJ. That would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy, but I mean, as we said, there's so much politics.
Even Wilder has been pushed back because Wilder Fury would have happened this weekend.
Yeah, it's true. It got pushed back to October. Yeah. I think October 4th because
COVID.
And who even thinks the fight might not even happen in October? You don't know with Fury and Wilder.
The arbitration thing ends in September. So the arbitration for this fight ends before the fight actually happens. So it's all a mess, bro. It's all a mess. But as Melo said, I think the only way that we could get this fight and get it kind of soon is if Fury eventually fights Wilder and beats him, and Joshua fights Usyk and beats him, and then they come to press conference, Eddie Hearn, Frank Moore, and they say, look, forget the belts, they vacate it. Dillian White fight for the WBC. Daniel Dubois mandatory for like the IBF or something. You guys go do your thing. These two, boom, come together. This is for like the unofficial but official lineal heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
So, and then I've got another question. So, do you think well, obviously the boxing model, we know it all fails, but there's more money in boxing than the UFC. What's happening to the fighters? Like, why is there not enough money spread around all the fighters in the UFC?
It's the model. It's the business model in the UFC. So, before, like few years ago, fighters used to be able to go in there and you'll watch like old fights. They used to have all sponsors on their shorts. Like they had loads of sponsors on their shorts, yeah. And that's how they was making all their money. But then UFC signed a deal with Reebok. And then fighters could only go into the cage wearing Reebok stuff. So then immediately, income slashed. Then you look at the money they get from fighting, and it's ridiculously low. Like the only way you can make like money as a fighter and be a fighter permanent, like that's your one vocation, is if you're like a top tier, like a top 10, top 5 or a champion. Like these guys that are coming in, like from the ground up, like fighting on the prelims and all that business, they get only like a couple thousand a fight. And you think, yeah,
couple bob.
You're putting you're putting your body through that much hell in camp for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. Then you got to do a weight cut as well, which is ridiculous. Like some of these UFC guys, like I saw a tweet earlier today. One guy that fought at 135 pounds bantamweight. He says he can like sometimes during lockdown he was walking around at 183.
What?
That's mental.
Like, that's mental. That's like closer to me.
And like, bro, it's nuts. And like the thing is, these fighters will put these fighters. What they do is they go down. They go to like the lowest weight they can go. Like so, look at like for example, like Darren Till. Darren Till, Scouser, UFC, was fighting at welterweight, which is 175. Yeah. If you look at Darren Till, and you told me, like when he's not fighting, yeah, he's easily like 200 plus. Like so many fighters have gone into these weight cuts and like nearly done serious damage to their body. Like I know Daniel Cormier has had a very, very, very close scare doing a weight cut. Like he nearly died. There's a video of Darren Till where he's got like a full sweatsuit on. He's laying in like a big sleeping bag thing, just trying to sweat everything. He said like he's gone blind during weight cuts. Damn. Like they're putting themselves through all that, and you think like if you're one of these guys that are just coming up, obviously, like we're saying, you've got that grind, you've got that motivation to get up to the stars, like the top guys, like the Adesanyas now, like the Usmans, like the Nunezes. You've got that drive to get there, but if you do all that and you're only getting like $2,500 a fight, you're thinking
mental.
It is. It's like
it's tough.
It's tough. Mad, but like,
do you think they need more divisions? Because in UFC, because obviously you said bantamweight 135 pounds. That's like, I believe it's super lightweight. No, it's lightweight at boxing.
I think the UFC division system's quite weird because they do it going up like £10. So I think the women go like I think they go 115, 125, 135. I don't think they got a 135 anymore because I think Nunes has just run through it all. But then the guys, you got flyweight, which is 125. Then you got 135, 45, 55, 75, 85, 205, and then heavyweight. So there is definitely room for like a couple like a super welterweight division, I reckon. Like a 185, no, not 185, like
180.
Like what is it? Like 175 or 185, like a 195 kind of one, like something like that, where like they're not coming and killing themselves because like it's so like the difference between middleweight, not welterweight, it's like super middleweight. Like going from 205 to 180, like 20 pounds is ridiculous.
That's a lot of weight.
And like it's so mad, like how much these guys put them through to like try and be the best in the said division, man. It's a lot of work. So I think they do definitely deserve more, but as we said, man, Dana White is if there's a pound note to be made, that man will make it, and if he can save one, he can save it. He'll save it.
The revolution will be televised, maybe. You know what I mean?
We'll see.
Because all these guys are coming up, and they see the that's why a lot of them are going. That people like, what's his name? Who's the guy that's fighting Jake
Paul, the guy I can't remember.
Tyron Woodley.
So they're saying Tyron Woodley's gonna make more in this Jake Paul fight 100%. Than he did in his whole UFC
100%.
Yeah, when people see that, thinking
that's why that guy took the beating. That Ben Askren, he just took the beating.
Yeah, he walked out with a smile on his face, bro. Because that's the biggest payday of his career.
Man, it's UFC. It doesn't treat his fight as well.
No, it doesn't at all.
It does not. It does not treat his fight as well. It's sad, but obviously for the product that it is, it kind of has to work like that.
But you can still treat him a little bit because, for example, you might get situations where you may start to miss big fights because people go to do other things.
There's no real competitor. The thing is, UFC has no real competitor. Unless you want to box, that's it.
Yeah, but that's it. These guys.
Unless they're gonna start doing the celebrity YouTube, that's the only way.
They might start doing that. I mean,
the thing is, they can't do that. There's too many facets for them to do.
Yeah,
MMA, man.
UFC needs a competitor. It needs.
If you're a decent striker, like hand striker, you might end up veering into that sphere because you know you can earn a lot of money. For example, John Jones, he's a good hand strike. He could fight someone in boxing, a boxing exhibition match, and earn some good money. I mean, instead of because he's supposed to fight, what's his name, the Cameroon guy.
Ngannou.
But that's gone very, very quiet.
Yeah, because John Jones wants to be paid, bro, and I can't blame him. Like he, outside of Conor, he's probably like one of the biggest stars, maybe the biggest star UFC's got. Like, because like he's like you said, he's like a household name. You hear John Jones is fighting, you're like, let me tune in.
For sure, I mean,
like not a lot of UFC fighters have that kind of pull.
I like Adesanya, but it's a bit weird. And Usman as well. I think Adesanya's name is a bit bigger now.
Yeah, I mean Adesanya's doing his thing. He's got to deal with Puma. He's got to deal with them. So like his name's getting out there now. Like it's good to see that like these UFC guys are kind of getting their name out there a lot more, man.
If you were to go to the average man on the street and ask them like what you see, they'll probably just know McGregor.
Yeah, the other fighters don't get market as well.
And maybe Khabib because McGregor put him on the map. Beating him.
Do you think Khabib will come back?
Nah, I don't, man.
He's done.
I think he's done. I think he wanted the 30-0, but obviously with the passing of his father, I think what.
I heard Adesanya was talking about him one time.
Adesanya?
Yeah. I think he was saying something about him. I can't remember. Oh, like Adesanya's record better than his or something like that. Some talking
not
about
anymore. Not after Adesanya's loss.
They were saying that Adesanya had won through all kinds of levels and had more fights, but I don't know.
Adesanya's had a lot of fights. Like outside of UFC, he was a kickboxer as well. So he's had a lot of like kickboxing fights. Obviously in the UFC, he's had I think he's like 20-1 or 21-1. Like
to end the pod, let me ask you a question. As a UFC fighter, what skills and facets would you need to be dominant? Like, is it better to be a striker or a grappler, or what skill makes you more dominant? And if you were to build your ultimate UFC fighter, what would he have?
Oh man, it's hard. It's a hard because it's one of those ones like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like you can be a great guy in the stand up with your hands, but then someone takes you down, long day. Same way, you can get pieced up in the hands, but then you can take someone. If you've got the wrestling, you can take someone down. You can end it there. It's like Ben Askren. Ben Askren, before he got to the UFC, his record was crazy because he just did the same thing. Just wrestled guys to the ground and pound, submit them. That was it. He came to the UFC, won one, lost twice. Like you can't odds it really. It's like
you only had 3 fights in UFC.
He only won over no time in 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah, like he won his first one. Obviously, the Masvidal knockout happened, and then he fought after that and got submitted, and then he retired.
What's happened to Masvidal?
Masvidal, obviously, Usman knocked him out.
Crazy.
And since then, yeah, he's kind of been quiet. Like Masvidal's one of those guys as well, where like his star power has gone up. Obviously, after that knockout. You ask a lot of people, like you say, have you seen a Masvidal knockout? They go, oh, the one with the knee, the 5-second one.
Nuts.
Like everyone's. I saw it when I came up from Wireless Wave. I was watching it. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I thought I was bugging, but no, like Masvidal's in a good spot because he's one of those guys now where his star power in the UFC is up. It's like up there, so he can kind of call the shots, kind of thing. He can get these good fights. Like I think there's talks of obviously him and Covington, who's now fighting Usman in like November. He wants to fight him. I think he wants to run it back with Nate Diaz. Like he's got Masvidal's got options. Masvidal's got options, but in regards to the perfect fighter, I think.
Could you be a striker or a grappler? Would you want to have jiu-jitsu skills or be a grappler? What would be the skill you would have?
I don't know. You know, I think I'd have to have some form of grappling in there, some form of wrestling in there, because, like I said with the Conor thing, your stand-up can be good, your stand-up can be great, but if you ain't got the facilities in the wrestling department, all it takes is one man to get you on the floor, choke you out, and then that's it.
Is the most devastating move a leg kick?
Leg kicks are crazy because all it can take is one. All it can take is one, and then your whole leg can be shattered. Like we saw with the the second Poirier McGregor fight, where Poirier landed first kick he landed on his calf, absolutely tore his leg to shreds, and then that was it. Like leg kicks, because like they say like a leg kick from a UFC fighter is like to a normal man, it would like immobilize you. It's so because it's just.
I bet they miss kicking. They break their own leg.
It's happened. It happened with It's happened recent. It happened with a guy called Chris Weidman. It's the whole thing with him is weird. So basically, he fought Anderson Silva way back when. Anderson Silva went to throw a leg kick. He checked it, blocked it, broke Anderson Silva's leg on the kick. Oh. Yeah, broke his leg down there. Couple months back now, Weidman's fighting, does the same thing, goes for a leg kick. The guy checks it, then his leg goes as well.
Risky business.
It's high.
It can be to invest in a body punch.
High risk, high reward.
High risk, high reward.
Because if you invest in body punches, you can pay dividends. But if someone catches you, times you as you go down, like an uppercut, you get down.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much, Chucky, for.
It's a pleasure as always, man. Always a pleasure.
I know we'll be having you on the scene there, and we'll be having you.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on all socials, with Instagram, the Twitter, Audibly, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the TMG Boys. We're trying to make it.
Trying to make it.
We're out. Two boys trying to make it, man. Love, thank you.
Tick, tick, tick. TMG.
God.
Did a clap so he knows.
So he knows. That's